It's Sunday. So your weekly dose of single Sundays. That's right. We're rocking the freestyle. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Uh, yep. So we're gonna do a little bit different things because I ended up doing our little reading that we ended up doing before we end up ranking. But I'm gonna do the pickups, and I'm going to put this as a flyer because it's kind of more of a flyer, but it's an introduction to everything that goes on with it, and it's a few little stories itself. So, with that, let's break down this flyer. We have the Energon Universe. Yeah, I know I normally have them bag and boarded, but there's a specific reason why I don't have this one bag and boarded at the moment. That is because if we open it up, in this book, you get samples of 4 different books. Let's start off with G.I. Joe, which is by Joshua Williamson. Void Rivals, which is by Kirkman. I want to keep on saying Hickman. Robert Kirkman. Transformers, which is by also Kirkman. And then you also have Mask, which is by Dan Watters. Dan Watters is notorious for Batman Dark Patterns, and that was kind of an exclusive, kind of awesome story. I believe he's also doing some Nightwing right now, so that could be a good introduction. I would honestly say out of these stories, the best, or the one I kind of enjoyed most, was The Mask, the Dan Watters one, followed by G.I. Joe, then Transformers, and Void Rivals. I was not a big fan of Void Rivals because I just didn't end up caring for it. I guess they have a quintessent war going on, or the finish of that. G.I. Joe looks like it's having some kind of action that's going on, that you have some clonage going on, with Zartan being the villain. Transformers, the reason why it's a little bit lower is because it's only a few pages and you don't really gather much. I think it's setting up a precedent that you end up seeing. And then obviously The Mask, this is probably the best story because it has the most room that's in the book itself, because it's really introducing Mask over to the general universe. I think this was also part of Free Comic Book Day where you ended up being able to get that. But I have no connection with Mask. I never watched it, never even got into that universe, so that'd be something I kind of would want to try to get into because that's kind of the person I is. We saw that with Silverhawks, where I read the first issue and I ended up dropping it because I didn't really care for it because I had no connection. I got connected with it, and you ended up having, well, Friday's video where you ended up breaking down the entire universe of Silverhawks. So maybe if I do something similar to that, I will end up drawing Mask. So I'm going to end up reading a little bit of Mask and seeing if the book will let me get to know the universe a little bit better. Because I like what I've read of Daniel Watters, so we're going to give it a shot. So that was the flyer that we ended up breaking down. So what does that mean? That means we have 2 issues that's off our pull list. So what's a pull list? A pull list is where you can end up making sure that you end up getting the books that you want. Where you end up going to your local comic book shop and be like, hey, I want to start a bin. I want to pull these books. They normally have a limit, or not a limit, but a minimum of books that you have to end up ordering to be able to set up a pull list. But it's a great way to be able to set it up where you end up getting the stories that you want, and a great sale for the store to be able to have. Alright, so with that being said, let's rank these bad boys. Coming in at number 2 is going to be Mark Spector, Moon Knight. This is by Jed MacKay. And I have to say, Moon Knight came back and his friends are missing. Where are they at? What's going to happen? What's the journey? Is he going to get the band back together? Well, you end up finding that out into this issue. Solid issue, solid pickup. Honestly, it's still going over there. It's still pretty solid. Nice little pickup. So that makes us have our top book right here. That's right. This is the top book of the week. And honestly, I like the build-up. I like what's going on. There's a whole lot of action that you can end up seeing. There's a lot of story being added to it. And with that being said, let's go over into Batman number 9. That's right, Matt Fraction on Batman. This is the main storyline of Batman. We get the Batman universe all together, and a certain character ends up getting captured / arrested. You end up seeing Batman doing something that's, well, out of character. Alfred dropping the hammer, and it'll go to action along the way. Solid pickup, solid story. I love the platform that this is building over with it, and that's why I ended up setting it apart to be the top pick of the week. So with that said, what was your top pick? Did you read any comics? Let us know down in the comments down below. And as always, thank you for watching, and until next time, we'll see you